Alright, in this vid, we are going to show you how to make your own track box. You don't need to buy one for $100. You can make them for about 30 bucks. You need to purchase some tracks. These particular ones here are Chinook tracks. You need to build yourself a wooden box and cover it in Tyvek tape. Make some shims that you'll see how those work. And you'll need some pour foam, some high density pour foam. So this is a 8-pound density. And what you'll end up with when we're done is your own track box to embed into your board. So here we go. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and bolt these tracks down inside here. And I'll use these shims to keep the tracks in the right position. So this will space the tracks from the end. Because there's a little bit of play in the tracks themselves, I use a shim between the tracks to make sure I get the correct 90mm spacing between. And I also use a shim on the sides like this and like this to center everything up inside this box. So I'm gonna go ahead and bolt those in with all the shims, and I'll be right back. All right, so the tracks are mounted inside of this box, and we've got the part A and part B, or part A and part B of the expanding foam, and this is the 8-pound density. And you can see it isn't equal parts. It is 100 parts A to 118 parts B. So what I've been doing up to this point is I do 50 milliliters of parts A and 60 milliliters of part B. "25-second mixing time, and then you need to be pouring it out of the cup within 45 seconds. So you got to work pretty fast, but I'll try to show you what that looks like. All right, so I've got 50, the dark brown here is the part A, and the light colored is part B. So the part A is a little bit thinner, so I pour the part A into the part B versus the other way around, because the part B is more like honey and it doesn't pour as well. Pour it into the box here, not on top of the strong boxes, but around the strong boxes. And I'll show you what that looks like here. All right, so the first pour for the track box is done. I'm also going to go ahead and pour some foam around. These are foot strap mounts. So, and then I can embed those into the board as well in high density. All right, so the tracks are pretty much submerged and the level of foam is above the Chinook track, top of the Chinook track box, so that's good. This one's completely buried. So I'll let this dry for a little while, and then the next video I'll show breaking the box apart and taking out the track box. I'm not sure if I'll end up with enough pour foam here. I might need to do another batch to embed these foot strap mounts into high density foam before I put them in the board, so we'll see. So I've removed all the screws from the box in all the different sizes and the screws that held the tracks in. One thing about these boxes when you build them, just so they go back together the exact same way, you notice I've got an XX there and an XX here. So this piece always lines up with the same part of the box. I've got a XXX and a XXX, 1X and 1X, and then a V and a V. So what I'll do now is break apart the box. And remember, all the screws have been taken out. And the Tyvek tape makes it so the foam does not stick to the wood. And as I said, I took this idea from somebody on one of the groups out on the internet, so appreciate the idea. And there you go. There's your tracks. I need to clean the foam out of the track right there, but that's real simple. And that is your box. Now I will go ahead and belt sand with coarse, like 60 or 40 grit, and belt sand this down so that it's even with the top of the foil boxes, the Chinook foil boxes. And that'll make this all level so that I can embed this then into a board. These are the ones for the foot mounts. And these are a little bit more stubborn, but, and if I can break this, so it's being a little stubborn. So these are the foot strap mounts, and again, I will belt sand these off with so they're even with the top of the piece of plastic. And then these will get embedded down into the board to mount the foot straps to. And having them in the high density foam just makes that part of the board a little bit stronger. So that's the idea with those. You can see everything is taken apart here. And yeah, so the pour foam is all done. And now it's time for some belt sanding. All right, so this is belt sanded down to the top of the Chinook box. You'll notice this looks a little skinnier than a standard Chinook block, and that is because on these particular ones I milled the top of them down to make them not as tall, to make the foil box a little bit lighter. So in comparison, this is a standard height Chinook box, fin box, and this is the milled down version. So you can see the height difference there. And then on the foot inserts, these are embedded in the high density foam and then belt sanded down to the tops. And then I'll most likely router out the pink foam and then submerge these down in and glue them in with Gorilla Glue into the foam core of the board. So anyway, that's where we're at. Cool. In the next video, we'll show you how to embed the track into the board and how to embed the foot strap mounts into the board as you see on this board.